While Docker is the most popular container runtime, there are other solutions you may consider as well, such as RKT, Rocket, from CoreOS. You may have many questions on your mind about these platforms and technologies. To help you make an informed decision, let's explore some of the factors you should consider as you choose containerization and application modernization programs. Docker CE or EE? To help you answer this question, let's look at the pros and cons of the free Docker CE solution and Docker's commercial solution Docker EE. CE Pro. The foundational Docker software is open source and available to everyone as part of the Docker Community Edition. Most Docker CE components are licensed under the Apache 2.0 license, which means Docker is free to use, so long as you include the license and copyright notices. CE Cons. Docker CE is community supported, so you must rely on your own expertise and that of the Docker open source community when you need assistance or guidance. EE Pro. Docker Enterprise Edition is designed for enterprise class scale, and you can manage hundreds or thousands of containers with its tools, features, and infrastructure. It works equally well for smaller sites that have limited IT resources and want to focus on the dev part of DevOps rather than managing an open source solution. EE Con. Docker EE requires enterprise licensing, and this cost may initially be steep for smaller companies or for organizations just getting started. As with any platform, Docker EE may limit some of your hybrid cloud deployment choices, depending on your architecture and your cloud provider's options. Here's the bottom line. The decision to go it alone, or rather go with the open source community through Docker CE, or to pay for the commercial Docker EE often comes up out of necessity. If you don't have the budget for EE, then either CE or a pay-as-you-go cloud-based container service is likely your best option. Or you may choose to begin your containerization journey with Docker CE and then later upgrade to EE when you have more experience and are starting to deploy your apps into production. Swarm or Kubernetes? You can start your containerization journey by playing with individual one-off containers, but eventually you'll want to scale up the number of containers you're deploying without also having to scale up the amount of IT staff to manage them. Both the community and enterprise editions of Docker support two orchestrators, Docker Swarm and Kubernetes. Docker Swarm Pros. Docker Swarm is built into the Docker engine. If you install the Docker engine, you have also installed, but not yet enabled, Swarm. Building a Docker Swarm cluster is easy. Swarm has a robust stack of app, container, and cluster management features too. Docker Swarm Cons. There are only a couple of relatively minor disadvantages to choosing Swarm as your orchestrator. The tight integration with the Docker engine means you're somewhat locked into the Docker ecosystem with Swarm, at least for the time being. Secondly, the all-in-one nature of Swarm means you have slightly less control over the specifics of the implementation. Kubernetes Pro. Kubernetes has a more modular architecture than Docker Swarm. Kubernetes is more popular than Docker Swarm, which means there are more community resources that provide support if you don't have paid support. Kubernetes Cons. Kubernetes' modular architecture adds complexity and makes for a steeper learning curve. There are opportunities for misconfiguration, which can lead to broken systems. Depending on your requirements and policies, there's one additional security factor that you may consider to be a pro or a con. As with most decisions in the IT industry, there's no single correct answer for everyone. But if you're new to containerization or are constrained by cost, start with Docker CE and use Docker Swarm as your orchestrator. Be sure to visit our site for official Docker training, as well as Kubernetes training, to further help your containerization integration. Also, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe.